This is AM Agenda. Thanks for your company this morning. With me from Melbourne, Liberal MP Josh Frydenberg, and here in the Canberra studio, Labor MP Ed Husic. Ed, first to you, on the aid budget, would you be worried, disappointed if the government did not meet its commitment to lift aid spending by 0.5% of national income by 2015?
Well, in terms of budget speculation, there'll always be speculation leading into a budget. I saw it last year as a first-term backbencher over medical research, and this year it's over the aid budget. I think the key is to wait for the budget itself, an important budget for us economically in being able to make sure, for example, the type of things that happened yesterday with the interest rate cuts, we're doing the right thing in terms of managing fiscal policy strongly and allowing room for monetary policy to ease in the way that it did yesterday.
It's all well and good to talk about budget bottom lines and so on, but commitments made in international settings, obviously they mean a lot in terms of our nation's reputation to honour those commitments.
And everyone is going to find they'll be given the scope of the budget, the breadth of the budget. Someone will find something that they're not happy with or they're concerned about. And as you well know, and as ministers have spoken with you previously, Kieran, going into the whole what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, rule in, rule out. It's just not a meaningful exercise leading into a budget.
What about the principle of this, Josh Frydenberg? There's bipartisan support for increasing the aid budget to 0.5% of national income by 2015. And Tim Costello made the point that the British Conservative government said that it does not want to settle its books on the backs of the poor. What do you think about this? Should this be off limits?
Look, there is a bipartisan commitment and the aid program is an important part of our international strategy. During the Howard years, we very much tied our aid program to good governance, and there was a big review last year by Sandy Holloway which looked at ways we can improve our aid program. So I think it's a very important part of our international strategy. But the truth is that this government's wasted so much money, Kieran, that it's now being forced desperately to find savings across the board. And if they do touch the aid budget, that will be very sad, and it's a reflection of their very poor fiscal management.
On to the interest rates yesterday, Josh. There's only so much any government can do in terms of demanding the banks pass on the full rate cut. You're a former banker yourself. Do you think that they've got an argument here not to pass on the full 50 basis points?
Look, the truth is the banks have ignored Wayne Swan well over 50 times when the RBA's reduced interest rates and the banks haven't followed. Look, I'm on the side of the householder and the consumer, and I do want the banks to fully pass on this interest rate cut. But as the Treasurer himself said, they're commercial decisions to be made by the banks, and that is their right. But I want them to reduce that interest rate cut for mortgage holders. But look, this government again has pushed interest rates up by its reckless spending, and it can't claim any credit for this interest rate cut because the RBA has pointed to weakness in the economy. And if we didn't have new taxes, a carbon tax, mining tax, and a host of other new taxes, and if we wouldn't have had such bad fiscal management and a lack of productivity dividends in the economy, then we wouldn't see that softness that we currently see.
Well, the
RBA is responding to the government's poor fiscal management.
Ed, the RBA statement didn't make reference to the government's fiscal tightening, the budget next week. There was no reference to the looming budget cuts. So Josh is right in large part there when he talks about the weakness of the economy driving the RBA's move here.
Inflation contained. Last month, 44,000 new jobs, budget moving into surplus, and interest rates 3 percentage points lower than what we inherited from the Libs. I remember as a candidate in 2004 and seeing households flooded with the claim that interest rates would always be lower under a Liberal government. And they went up 10 times in a row, and they're lower now than what they were under the Libs. And we've been able to do this within the context of our economy being a world leader, beating any other advanced economy. So we've certainly got a lot that we can be proud of. But the other thing is too, in terms of injecting competition, so you referred to the banks, the possibility of the banks not passing on the cut, egged on by Andrew Robb, who justifies them. Joe Hockey jumped in last night. And when we tried to make sure that people had the ability to change banks if they were unhappy with that type of behaviour, you guys, Josh, you might say you're on the side of the consumer, but you didn't vote for our housing pack or our mortgage package that would have seen greater competition forced down and stop exit fees, which we managed to do.
Okay, quickly, a quick response to that, Josh.
Well, the truth is they're so fiscally incompetent that these guys could not run a hot bar.
Going to surplus.
And the truth is that their interest rate, the average interest rate, was lower over the years of the Howard government from 1996 to 2007 than it has been under your government. That's the truth.
First on Sky Agenda, Plato's statistics.
You've run the 4 biggest budget deficits in Australia's history. That's why we're seeing higher interest rates.
With a little bit of airbrushing of the GFC.
And then a
little bit of airbrushing.
Yeah. And so that's why the RBA has intervened here, Kieran. And look, the truth is that we are seeing softness out there in the economy, and at the same time we've got a carbon tax that we saw Christine Keneally come out yesterday and say that the government should wind back.
Well, indeed she did. We might get to that if we've got time, but quickly, we've got to move on. Christopher Pyne.
I don't want Josh to stub his toe on history on the way through.
Well, let's move on. Let's move on. Draw a line through that. The manager of opposition business, Christopher Pyne, had drinks with James Ashby, this staff member in the office of Peter Slipper. So what? He is the manager of opposition business. The guy was in the staff of the Speaker.
I'm going to cut him.
He's obviously in that office a fair bit.
I think people are being hard on Christopher. I'm sure that he brought to those discussions all those qualities he's known for in the House. He would have been balanced. He would have been reasoned. He would have been objective. I think it's a hard call on Christopher. I think also, Tony Abbott probably didn't know what was going on. But what I'd be interested to know is, and by the way, I'm being exceptionally sarcastic on that, how can you not have any sense that your manager of opposition business is having these meetings in this environment? But the key now for Tony Abbott is this. Is he going to say that what Christopher Pyne did is way out of line? Because he's now got to step in that emotionally charged situation.
Of course he's not going
Why
to say
is
that.
the manager of opposition business getting involved in such a sensitive matter?
But there's no proof to say he was getting involved in it.
There were text messages, emails, seeking contact. I mean, what else? What else do we need in terms of him trying to make contact? And why would he want to make contact?
Well, Josh, you can respond, but also, do you think that it would be better if Christopher Pyne just said, OK, I'll be done with it, release the mobile phone record as Wayne Swan's demanding, just to stop the government muddying the waters on this?
Well, this is a red herring, right? This is a red herring. There are serious allegations against Peter Slipper, and they need to now be tested in court. That's what's at issue here. The government has no evidence whatsoever for its claims against Christopher Pyne. He was doing his job. This is fanciful. His job is as manager of opposition business to be engaging with the Speaker and his office, just like Anthony Albanese would have been, just like Joel Fitzgibbon would have been. So, this is absolutely a red herring.
Role to provide employee counselling. I mean, that is not his job whatsoever, Josh.
What are you talking about?
I'm happy to listen
You're
to
just setting up red herrings.
No,
you're setting up red herrings, my friend.
No, I don't need to set that up, but please, don't stretch it. It's too early in the morning to be saying that he's entitled to go and meet with Mr Ashby in terms of those claims. And I don't disagree with you. These are serious matters that need to be tested. But, Christopher Pyne is not providing employee counselling assistance through the Office of Manager of Opposition Business.
All right, let's move on.
Kieran, I was just going to say the truth here is that the Slipper and Thompson affairs have provided a lot of fodder for Ed Husic and his mates who are supporting Kevin Rudd. That's going to be the real outcome of what we've seen in recent days.
Good on you, Stretch.
Well, Christina Keneally has, as Josh mentioned earlier, called on Julia Gillard to think about revoking the carbon tax. We've only got about a minute left on the program, but your thoughts on that?
Christina Keneally's entitled to her opinion. We're just getting on with the job like we've already set in train in terms of the assistance package, putting the price on pollution, getting this done, and we just got to head towards that.
Your former Prime Minister thinks that Kevin Rudd will return. Josh Frydenberg, obviously no bias or political influence in that.
Look, it's just a question of time before there's a leadership challenge. I mean, even Joel Fitzgibbon's in the paper today apparently saying he's withdrawn his support from Julia Gillard. This is very serious. Interestingly, Kevin Rudd said in his pitch in February that he wanted to see a reduction in the carbon price. Wait for that pitch again, because households are hurting.
Josh Frydenberg, Ed Husic, good to see you both, gents.
Oh, I'm glad Josh is
you.
here. I don't have to turn up to caucus. He'll tell me what's happening. So, thanks, Josh.
Thanks, fellas. That's all for AM Agenda, and thank you for your company. I'm Kieran Gilbert. See you soon.